I visited with all of you almost 2 months ago now when Greg Carlson announced his retirement. We had conversation about what the next steps would be, and of course we had a lot of conversation about the strong foundation that Coach Carlson and his staff had created over the first 7 years for our football program in the College of Saints Scholastica. So embarking from there, we set out on a national search, which generated a great deal of interest, a deep pool, and we felt a very high quality pool. And as a result of that, over the last 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, we held several phone interviews and then on-campus interviews. And the result of that is I'm very pleased today to announce that Kurt Ramler is our next football coach at the College of Saints Scholastica. Kurt really rose to the top. I think it's interesting. About a year ago, I think I mentioned to some of you that Coach Carlson had started talking about retirement. So I had started looking through websites and researching and looking for potential candidates, and certainly Kurt was somebody that stood out on websites and so on as to potential candidates that I would hope would have been interested in our program, and haven't talked to him about that. But Kurt's background is, in my opinion, a perfect fit for the College of Saints Scholastica. Starting with coaching experience, well, going back to playing experience, which we were just having a conversation about. He was a finalist for the Gallardi Award while he was a quarterback at St. John's. Gallardi Award, of course, named after his coach at that time, and was an academic All-American as well, and part of a very, very successful program as a student athlete. And during that experience, I think was a beginning piece of him starting to realize, the importance of the holistic process that takes place at Division III when education and athletics is part of an education. So that and his experience as an assistant coach at Eden Prairie High School, which I think most of us realize is the most successful high school program in the state of Minnesota, working with Mike Grant there, and then on to assistant positions at Heidelberg and at Wagner and in Hamilton, where he grew his coaching experience, and then a 6-year tenure as a head coach at Carleton College in the MIC, where he had very, very strong success in developing a larger roster and a more successful program. And then taking a sabbatical and studying, the sport and so on, as you can see from his resume that Jesse has provided for you. And then back to St. John's, where he was again a finalist once the legendary Coach John Gallardi announced his retirement after, I think, 65, 70 years on the job at St. John's. And then St. John's really made every effort to keep him in the fold, in the family at St. John's, as they offered him the associate head coaching position, recruiting coordinator position, and offensive coordinator position. So we're very, very fortunate to have somebody who not only has great coaching background, but really embraces the Division III philosophy, understands private liberal arts education, and really he and I have spent a great deal of time over the last 2.5 weeks getting to know each other, and my trying to get him to understand who we are at the College of Saints Scholastica, and what, of course, both of us were looking for was what we felt was the right fit. And I certainly, as athletic director, am elated to announce today that Kurt Ramler is going to be our next football coach at the College of Saints Scholastica. I think he's an exceptional fit for us, and we're pleased that he feels that we're going to be the right fit for him. So I think at this point I'll turn it over to him, and he can make a few comments, and then we're both available for any questions that you might have. And also Eric Berg, our vice president, is with us, and Dr. Larry Goodwin, our president, is with us as well. So I think any of us would be open for fielding any questions in the process. But Kurt?
Wow, thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. I'll echo what he said, that I think through the process, certainly getting to know more about Scholastica, more about the institution, more about the athletic director and then the athletic department, my interest continued to grow, and I continue to think that this could be a really good fit. Just the things that I was looking for, having gone to a Catholic Benedictine institution this being a Catholic Benedictine institution, a chance to further what the college believes through coaching, which is something that was important to me. And so that was exciting for me to be able to join an athletic department that has had so much success, a college that fits, really what I'm looking for, incredible liberal arts experience, and then also the success that they've had in recent years with the football program, and the program being so young, and despite that youth having done things right, and the character of the individuals on the team, what I had heard from individuals and what they were experiencing currently, how much they liked it here at Scholastica, how much they liked being a part of the football program, how much they seemed to fit what I wanted to coach. It just seemed like a great fit, so I'm honored to be here. I definitely have to also thank St. John's and thank Gary Foshing and John Gallardi that you mentioned. I think along the way in any profession, certainly in coaching, there are people that help you. John Gallardi helped me, Gary Foshing helped me, and Tom Stock, the athletic director at St. John's also. I have to make sure I thank them. Frankly, that was without question the toughest part, was leaving some people that I really care about, an institution that I really care about. But the more I grew to know about this place, the more excited I became.
What did you learn from Gallardi?
Oh boy, how much time do we have? I think literally there's a long list. It's a incredibly long list. Football specific, person specific. I think the thing that I take away most from John, and I try to apply, is how much he cared about the kids. I know John made a real difference in my life in a number of ways, not only when I was playing, but afterwards. When he reached out to me at a time when I needed him to help me out, and he did. And I think that's one piece, is that we knew he cared. And certainly the football piece, you certainly have to be able to think outside the box. John did things in an incredibly unconventional way. Most folks would say you can't do that. No whistles, no conditioning, no blocking sleds, no contact in practice. It's like most football coaches, I think, certainly at the time, would say you can't do that. That won't work. Well, only the winningest coach in the history of college football. So certainly some of those specifics to the strategy of the game, but then also, I think, being willing to think in a way that others don't.
You said he reached out to you. How was that? Or you reached out to him?
Okay. I was at an FCS school in New York City called Wagner College, getting my master's, and my father was ill. And I put the career on hold and decided to move back home. And so I did that, and when I was at home taking care of Pops, who had ALS, Lou Gehrig's, John reached out to me and offered me a chance to keep my career going. And he didn't have to do that. It meant the world to me.
You were head coach, before. Did you miss that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, the experience at St. John's was incredible. I think it was really nice to step back, to learn from Gary, to learn from the coaches at St. John's. It was an interesting experience to just be a coordinator and kind of step back in the role that I had. And yeah, I did. But, there's pros and cons to everything. Honestly, I could have stayed at St. John's for years upon years. When I took that position, I knew it would take a special opportunity for me to leave. And it could have been 10 years down the road, it just happened to be one. And I thought this was too good to pass up.
And where's the program go from here? They've kind of, the big, they are the team to beat in the Upper Midwest Athletic Conference. Where do you go from there?
Firstly, in terms of outcomes, I think we have to make sure that the great experience the kids are having within the program continues, first and foremost. That truly will be the mission of the program. The outcomes, the wins and losses, it's not the reason behind the program. We're trying to provide an incredible experience for the kids. Now, if we get enough guys that are driven like the current guys to be the best they can be on and off the field. Hopefully, we can continue to have success in the UMAC. And then, that first round playoff game would be a lot of fun to win. So certainly the goals in that front were we'll play anybody and we'll plan to win.
You addressed the team today then, or
Yeah, a little bit later here.
a little later?
Yeah, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Gotta let them get out of class first.
You met some of the guys though?
Yeah. Met a few of the guys. Was impressed by their desire. The questions they asked were impressive. They wanted to know how they could get better, what they could do, and I think what kind of program we were going to run in terms of the overall experience too. I think the character of the guys reflects the Benedictine institution of the college. They're not only skilled athletes, they're also great students, and they're also great people. We'll hope to continue that.
Jesse covered most of the bases here unless I missed it. What's your age and personal, like family, married?
Oh, I'm 39, and I love Duluth. I'm not married, no family, a bit of an outdoorsman. So I'm looking forward to exploring some of the natural opportunities up here. I heard the walleye are biting on the lake. Oh, sorry, salmon. See, I don't know that yet.
What did you know about St. Scholastica before applying for the job and ultimately accepting it?
Yeah, that's interesting because I definitely learned more as I went. In the back of my mind, I'd seen when Scholastica started its program a number of years ago. I was like, wow, okay, they're going to start football in Duluth. That's intriguing. So I followed the program a bit there and knew that I liked the area. Also, seeing their success, I said, okay, that's impressive that they can do that in such a short window. But then I hadn't really been to campus, to be honest. Coming to campus and seeing just how nice it is, that was impressive. Meeting the football players, that was impressive. Talking, I did due diligence, I'd like to think. Talked to a number of high school coaches about the experience the players were having. They said that they loved it here at the school and in Duluth. And to me, that was great. And I'm hoping that people get excited about the program now, as well as where it's going. I mean, our seniors, they're going to have a chance to win their 4th consecutive UMAC championship and make their 4th consecutive trip to the playoffs. That's incredible. And that's something that, boy, if we could make that a tradition, that'd be pretty incredible. Next year we'll have a chance to do that.
You said you like Duluth. How many times have you been up here, and where are you from originally?
Okay, I'm originally from Chaska, a small town just southwest of the cities. As a younger, in my youth, up here quite a bit with the family, and then I've been up on the way to the Boundary Waters, which is an annual excursion. So I've been up, 10, 15 times or so. So, yeah.
A little shorter drive now to the Boundary Waters, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You know some places. Do you have any tips?
And no tips.
No?
It's a secret.
Yeah, there you go.
Most of them are, to be honest. I understand that.
Coach, I have a question. We have a pretty sizable critical mass of recruits that are still out there waiting to hear who the coach is. I know you'll be contacting them personally, but what kind of message would you send the recruits that are still out there?
Well, certainly send them a message of they got a chance to be a part of something really good. Again, I think we've got a great foundation. They can be part of a great family where they can not only get an unparalleled education, but also be a part of a great team. I really think if you talk to the guys on our team, they just would love it here. So they have a chance to, I think the way I put it, a chance to make history. They really do. That's part of the reason I'm here, is a chance to make history. I think it'd be incredible to continue the success we have in the UMAC and potentially beyond. Certainly those are our goals, but first and foremost, they're going to have a great experience as part of our family. So.
Not that long ago, you were probably recruiting for St. John's, and now you're kind of recruiting against them a little bit. Is that a little
I
odd?
hadn't thought about that. Yeah, it's a lot, but you know, it's I think what happens, people end up finding their home, you know, and I do think there are going to be people that look at both schools, and there's pros and cons to each, you know, there's also a lot of guys that I think we're going to appeal to. This is a place where, for the right person, I think it would be perfect.
Real quick, the coaching staff, how many are you going to keep?
Yep. I think the guys have done a great job. I know the guys that are here, Ryan Allgood and Matt Bremmer, they'll be around. They've done a tremendous job, not only in the past, but doing a good job with this year's recruiting class. We had a gentleman on campus today who was quite a player, and I think is very interested, and that was about as good a timing as you could have. So I think this year's class is going to be good, or at least solid, all things considered. And I think we've got a strong core return.
You obviously have more of an offensive background. What can we expect to see on the field next year?
Yeah, hopefully touchdowns from the offense, right? That'll be the goal. I don't know, I played quarterback. John Gallardi once told me, when in doubt, air it out. You know, and that's what a quarterback likes to hear, to be frank. So I think we'll be somewhat similar. Now, don't get me wrong, we've also had running backs have great success on the offenses that I've coached. So we'll see what we've got exactly and do our thing. But I think it's a lot of fun to play in the offense that I can coach. We're not afraid to be creative. The goal is that, points, you know, nothing else. So I think people like that. And then defensively, done a good job. We switched from a 4-2 to an odd stack last year and had success with that. There might be some room for us to go back and forth between those two with the practice philosophy that I want to implement. But we'll see. You know, see who the defensive coordinator is, and then see what he's best at coaching, and then go from there.
Yeah, you know, he was an old school coach at Gallardi, but it wasn't 3 yards in a cloud of dust like the old school football, was it?
Yeah, right? He kind of was both. He was the old school curmudgeon, but then he was also, you know, cracking jokes, and everybody was having fun. He had that right balance. That was part of his secret.